Welcome in. Good afternoon. It's the Tick and Puncher Show. It is a Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 edition of the show. I am not the normal person who runs this, obviously. That is your boy, Roman Kelly. But he is out doing some midway basketball work, doing some play-by-play tonight. So I thought I'd come in, help him out. But, you know, you got the normal crew here. You got Curtis Phillips, Philly Picks here. And you got your boy, JR, over here with us again today. How you guys doing? It's a little interesting for me. You know, this is new for me. I hope I can hold it down good enough for you guys. Hope you guys are welcome to having me on. How you guys doing so far? Curtis, let's start with you. How's your week been going so far, big guy?
Doing good, man. I appreciate you, Matt, coming on, hosting the show today. But, you know, overall, I'm doing good today. Had a great weekend, so I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, same. We got faith in you, Matt. Don't worry about it, man. Looking forward to get the week started, recap last week, and hopefully our Cards get a win tonight.
Having some issues really quick. For some reason, your guys are not coming through over the pod right now. It doesn't say you're muted, but I'm not hearing you guys. So sorry about that. I'll try and figure that out really fast. But, you know, we wouldn't be a new start to a different show than without some issues to start the show off.
Can you hear us?
This is one where I'm not really understanding what the problem is. So, well, to get going, oh my gosh, this is kind of an issue. I have literally no idea why you guys are not being.
Can you hear us, Matt?
Yeah, I got you now. Figured it out. Sorry about that, guys. So, my fault. Hope you guys are doing well. Like I said, I didn't get to hear you guys' intro, but everybody else did. The site over here on my end was muted, so that's on my fault. I had to mute it for the show before. But I hope you guys have had a good week. I know you guys haven't. Did you guys do a show yesterday as well?
We did not yesterday.
Okay. So what did you guys get into over the weekend? Did you guys have any nice punches this weekend that hit or didn't hit? What was your guys' records looking like over the weekend? Curtis, I'll start with you. How did you do over the weekend, big guy?
Yeah, we broke even, went 2-2 on our punches. We had James Harden's under 26.5 points, which was pretty much done in the first half. So that was a bad read on me. And we had Oregon team total under, which barely flew under in that dismantle of a game versus Indiana. But that ended up cashing. And then we had 49ers and Eagles under the 44.5, which did go under. And then we missed on Dalton Kincaid's over 3.5 first quarter receiving yards. So we break even. So looking to do a little better this week.
So you got a pretty wide spread of games throughout the weekend. You know, it seemed like you touched all the bases. JR, before I get to you, I want to ask you guys really quick. I mean, you already touched on it. You had the Oregon team under. That game was completely blown out of the water for me. No pun intended. I mean, my gosh. I thought that, you know, a team coming like Oregon, coming back to Indiana again, kind of having a chip on their shoulder from, you know, losing at home to them earlier in the season, would put up a lot bigger of a fight than they did. I mean, Dante Moore, that dude was under more pressure than you could have possibly imagined as a college quarterback back there. It was, I mean, this Indiana team this whole season has been the biggest surprise in college football. That was the biggest surprise in a single game for me over the weekend. But, JR, how did you do over the weekend, my man?
Yeah, the only thing we took for the Ticket Puncher show was the Kobe Parkinson yards. He covered that. I believe his line was at 21 or so. He ended up cashing it like 30-something. Thank God for that last-second touchdown. He tiptoed in there. And then I took Niners and Philly first half over for points. That cover as well. And then I took one more in the second game, and that first half money line did not cash. So we went 2-1 in official picks, but overall looking to get a little bit more volume out this week.
That's good. That sounds like not a bad weekend from the show itself. I don't have Roman's picks from over the weekend, but he did give me his for tonight. Before we get into stuff like that, I wanted to talk to you guys about, I feel like there's a really hefty slate this week just on the sports term in general. We got a really good college basketball slate. Not even just for the full week, but just tonight in general and tomorrow. I mean, tonight, you guys know we have Virginia-Louisville. That's a top 20 matchup. Also tonight, we have Iowa State-Kansas. Kansas just like dropping out of the top 25 this past week. Then you have UConn versus Seton Hall. Seton Hall just breaking the top 25 this week. I didn't know this until the Mike Rutherford show a little bit ago. UConn has just a horrible record at Seton Hall that they had to have an Etsy witch come out and basically de-curse the arena to give UConn a chance in this game, which blows my mind. Seton Hall hasn't really impressed me this season, but it just always is crazy to me, the links that some fans will go to basically show the success of their teams. And one that I'm going to reach out to, JR, I want your opinion on this. I mean, John Harbaugh getting loose. I know you're the big Ravens guy. I kind of want to know your opinion on this. Are you happy that he's gone? Or are you looking? What's a big name for you moving forward? Do you want to see kind of lead the Ravens in the forefront?
Yeah, Curtis and Roman know very well. I've been screaming from the mountaintops for about 3 years now. The man, thank God, for his 18 seasons, but it was time, man. We just couldn't get over the hump. A lot of blown leads. Big names on my bucket list. I've been really fond of Brian Flores as head coach and Mike McDaniels as an OC. That's a tandem that I would really love. I feel like Biscotti is going to lean more towards like a Robert Saleh at the helm or and maybe like a Joe Brady head coaching, type of position. I can't really wrap my head around like which way I think they're going to go. I watched the press conference today at 2, man, and I couldn't get any telltale signs from anything. So to be determined.
It's an interesting situation, he getting released a couple of days, or at least a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and then last night or today, the news about Mike Tomlin just stepping down entirely.
Yep.
Is there a world out there these coaches are like, hey, we both want a different situation, we just switch?
They asked Biscotti this at the 2 p.m. presser, and Biscotti, start laughing, and he looked over at EDC, and he was like, wouldn't that be just crazy? And then he turned back to the reporter and said, only if John accepts the Pittsburgh job will Tomlin get the Ravens job. So I thought that was pretty funny. But I think Harbaugh's going to end up probably going to Miami-ish, something like that. But, I mean, now that Tomlin's in the field, I don't see why he would step down unless he just knew it was time. But, dude, he would be a prime candidate of mine. He's the one that knows what Ravens football is. He loves Lamar. A lot of people don't know, but he went to every pre-draft workout for Lamar, and then he got overruled in the draft room, and they ended up, not wanting to move on him. But I could really see it happening. Crazy change of events today.
It really is, especially because, I mean, you can't think of all the job openings and think that the Ravens one is not the best one in the open right now. I mean, you just having Lamar on staff by itself, you have a dude that the organization knows they want to build around Lamar. Lamar's going to help in handpicking this coach moving forward. And like you said, with Mike Tomlin, the connections he has is definitely going to be a name there. It's just going to be the question of, does he want to keep coaching, or would he rather go into more of a media presence kind of job and this and that? We already know John Harbaugh wants to coach.
Yeah, I think Tomlin's not ready to give it up. I think Tomlin just knew that, with the quarterback struggles, that was not going to change anytime soon there in Pittsburgh. So I think he was thinking like, well, crap, this is the best time to come out if I'm going to come out. And I also think that he really didn't want to get fired if it was going to come to that. I think he wanted to walk away on his own terms and, kind of ride off into the sunset.
I can see that too. I want to go back to what we were talking about in college basketball for a little bit. Like I said, the games this week or at least in the next 2 days are pretty hefty. You guys got any games you're watching out for tonight or maybe tomorrow for the rest of the week?
What you got, Curtis?
Yeah, curious to see how that Iowa State-Kansas game goes. I know Kansas just dropped out of the top 25. You're going up against a undefeated Iowa State team. I'm thinking Kansas can kind of pull off the mini upset against get Iowa State their first loss. So that should be interesting. Like you already mentioned, Matt, the UConn traveling to Seton Hall should be really good. Florida getting back into the top 25, going on the road versus an Oklahoma team who's had a kind of a light schedule this year, but they are 8-0 at home, so that's a short spread right there. Maybe they pull off the upset. So, yeah, it's a lot of college basketball games, going on that I'll have my eye on. Obviously, Louisville tonight versus Virginia. Curious to see how that goes as well. So.
Have they dropped injury reports for us yet? Is Conwell playing or no?
Conwell is listed as a go.
Yeah, okay. I saw him as game time decision.
The only one that's any different from what we saw last night is Kenai is fully out. He's not questionable anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which, with their struggles defensively recently, that's something we really needed. This team isn't of a Virginia team of late. When they had Tony Bennett, they are an offensive prowess. They share the ball a lot. They're going to move the ball pretty quickly. So Louisville has struggled this season against teams that, rely heavily on one or two players, and they're not that great on ball, but they have succeeded against teams that share the wealth a lot, and Virginia does that. So it'll be really interesting how this team works without Kenai Roos playing against a team that, does swing the ball around. They don't focus on a Darius Acuff or a Cam Boozer or a Foster to really take it down to the rim whenever they can. It was interesting to see what they can do. Do you guys this week, moving on, we obviously have the College Football Playoff coming on this week, or the College Football Playoff Championship coming in with Indiana and Miami. Do you guys think Miami has really any chance in this game with how the dominance we've seen from Indiana? I know that Miami has one of the best defenses in the country, but in some of these big games, we've seen the dudes like Ruben Bain not really show up. You don't really see his name called, and Indiana is a really stacked O-line. You saw what they did against Oregon. They're going to put pressure on Carson Beck, and Carson Beck, just like he did against Louisville, just like he did against SMU, if you put a man in his face, he makes bad decisions. He throws too deep down the field sometimes. He puts the ball in harm's way. Do you think Miami's defense can overcome Indiana's balanced play, or do you think it just spells bad news for the Canes moving forward? Curtis, I'll start with you.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that defense, Miami's front, goes up against Indiana's offense. Indiana's a team that hasn't really hurt themselves all season, which is why they're sitting at a 15-0 record right now. So it should be really interesting. Carson Beck in his losses, the two losses, the Louisville and SMU, I believe he had 6 interceptions. That's 6 of his 10 interceptions on the season. But, this Indiana team turns you over. So it will be interesting to see. And, Fernando Mendoza, I believe he's one of the most underrated Heisman I think that we've ever seen. Just the last 2 games alone, he's had 8 touchdowns and 5 incompleted passes, which that's an insane stat if you ask me. But I lean towards the Indiana spread. This will be in Miami, so it's like a home game for Miami, even though they'll be.
That's still crazy to me. I can't believe that game. Like, they're going to play at home, and the ticket prices are just ridiculous. I don't even know who's going to be able to come out there. But
oh yeah, that's wild. So, and Miami will actually be in the visiting locker room, which is kind of funny as well. But
I think that has to be a first. Has to be a first.
Oh, yeah. So it should be interesting, though. But I lean towards Indiana just to insert their dominance like they have against almost every team that they faced this year. So,
yeah. And I'll second that. Like, I think it's Indiana's game to lose. I do think Indiana's defense is going to try to overpower Beck in the offense. I don't think that's going to be a very balanced match. I do think this game is going to come down to Indiana's offense versus Miami's defense. That's the true game. And then special teams, as far as, we've seen a lot of muffed punts, a lot of turnovers on kickoffs, things like that, like limiting all mistakes. We know Beck is going to make mistakes. That's a given. But if he plays a perfect game, then they have a shot. But Miami's offense is going to have to put up points and not give Indiana anything free if they want to survive. In my opinion, I don't think there's anything that's going to slow Mendoza down. I definitely love the spread. I love the over in this one. I didn't think Indiana was going to keep their foot on the gas in the last game and go score 54, but I think that was a statement run, and I think they're going to do the same thing, and I think Cignetti is all for it. So.
I mean, that's exactly what Curt Cignetti does. I mean, this dude steps on your throat and then jumps on top of it. It's actually impressive to see not just what they've done this season, but, I mean, the luck they've had off the field. They're not a team riddled with injuries late in the season. We're playing 16 games in a college football season now, and they're one of the healthiest teams in the country. Every time they have an injury, they get lucky, and it's something not too serious. They come back in a week or two. Even this weekend, when they played Oregon, I was like, gosh, there's a lot of dudes going down. All of them seem to be okay. They're all good. It is crazy to me how, I mean, the success they've had is all coaching. It's all player development. But there is a luck factor in terms of, can you keep a football team healthy for this many games in the season? I mean, they're playing almost just as much as NFL teams are now. And, I mean, the NFL is riddled with injuries every year. You guys both kind of agreed on the same point that you guys like the Indiana spread. Are we – knowing even how dominant Indiana has been I almost said Louisville, my apologies, how – with Miami's defense being so stout, are we surprised that 8.5 number? Do we think that it's a little disrespectful to Miami because they are playing at home? They have one of the best defenses in college football, or is this just we're riding with the Hoosiers? They haven't showed us any reason they can slow down. What do you guys think about the spread?
I'll say every time I've thought that this year, I'm like, oh no, Indiana's due for a loss. Indiana's due for a close game. The other team would keep it close. Every single time that I've thought that, Indiana has floored them. Every single time. Mm-hmm. The only game that I was even remotely close was the first Oregon game where it came down to the last couple plays to edge that one out. But if anything, I would say, alt it down to maybe a 7, just the even 7. I do think, if Miami has a day, it could very well be a 1-score game. But like I said, every time I've wanted to take, the other team to close spreads or anything like that, Indiana comes out and it's 30-zip in the first half. And then it's like, damn, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I also feel like this is the perfect storybook ending for this year. You cap off with a Heisman, and then you also cap off with a national championship going completely undefeated. So something different in that Indiana water.
Yeah, definitely something different. Curtis, what do you think about that spread? Do you think it's a little too high, too low, or do you think, or are you a JR that, I mean, every time you look at this team thinking this has to be the week they slip up, or this has to be the week somebody gets them, they overshadow? What do you think about this?
Yeah, originally I thought it was too high, but when you just look at this Indiana team, like I already said, like they don't hurt themselves on offense or defense. This is one of the most sound teams we've seen in a while. So I think this is more respecting Indiana rather than a little disrespect towards, Miami. So I think it's right where it should be. I think the books after last game versus Oregon probably thought, oh, we may have set that line a little too low, not respecting Indiana. So I think this is a fair line.
I would have to agree with you. I think that if any team in college football history has earned this much of a spread this late in the season, Indiana has. I mean, we're seeing people on Twitter, on social media in general, saying this team's cheating. Like, we're at this level of dominance that we're already getting cheating allegations for Indiana Hoosier football. If I went in a coma even just 3 years ago and woke up today and I was like, oh man, I just woke up in time for the college football playoff national championship. Who's in it? Bama, Georgia, Ohio State. They're like, Indiana and Miami. And I was like, oh, Indiana had to have gotten no. People are, yes, exactly. People are comparing this team to like Joe Burrow, LSU, Georgia in the 2015, 2016, like around that era. What do you think about that? How do you think this team stacks up in the historic college football teams of all time?
Man, that's a tough one. I was a big fan of that Joe Burrow LSU team with Jamar Chase and Jefferson and them boys and that defense.
I mean, they were throwing for like 10,000 yards. I mean, you could not love that team.
Different. That team was extremely different. I would say it's up there, man. Like if they can cap it off, I think we really won't understand like what they did until maybe 2 weeks after. It was like, damn, like they really went on this run. He did it with 4 stars and 3 stars. I don't think he had one 5-star recruit on this.
None, 0.
And the scary part is that his money's rolling in next year for NIL, and God, just watch out for what they're going to do next year. But I mean, as far as them stacking up, I can't rank it now. I would really have to sit down and we all put our heads together, but definitely up there. If they can cap it off, I'd say top 10 for sure.
Curtis, how do you feel? You think that if they cap this off, what kind of score line would you need to see in this game for you to say this is a top 5 college football team of all time?
Yeah, I think even if they was to not cover the spread and still win, and I expect them to put up points anyway. So I'd say anything north of 28, I'd say 4 touchdowns. Then, yeah, this is going to be top 5, top 10 team of all time. And I think a lot of, what has to do with their success is they have a lot of seniors on this team. It's about 20, 30 seniors. So they have the depth. They have the personnel. I mean, this team is, just overall, I think going to be one of the greats. So, yeah.
I have to agree with you, especially like JR, you already mentioned it. Let's forget the national championship, just the money they're going to bring in this season just for making it to this point. This team is only going to reload. They already have a top 5 portal class in the country moving next year, along with arguably the best coach in the sport right now. The dude has owned everybody. It's almost like the dude actually really is cheating and just has film on every aspect of everybody's game. It's ridiculous to think where we're at in college sports, that how fast a team can rebuild when they're rough like Indiana, but also in another sense like Indiana, when you're good, you can only get better because of the revenue sharing, how much money you can bring in season to season. The better they get, the less they need to donate, and that makes the university really happy. But moving on from college football, we also had a ridiculous NFL wild card slate this week. This has been one of the best wild card opening weekends, at least I've seen in my lifetime. What was it? The first 3 games, all of the teams that were down at the 2-minute mark all won. Out of all these games, what was the one you guys got to look at? What was your favorite? What was the one that, because there was all about exciting comebacks, what was one that really locked in? You're like, wow, this was a really good game. This is a team that could go the farthest.
Roman didn't give Curtis his due diligence last time. So Curtis, go ahead. Bless the stage.
Okay, Curtis, go ahead.
Yeah, as some of y'all know, big Bears fan over here, and just the resiliency I saw from us the second half. Packers, they dominated all 3 games in the first half. I believe we scored 6 combined points the first 3 games, and we ended up winning 2 of them. So that just shows you the heart this team has. Ben Johnson, great coach. Caleb Williams, you see he turns it on in the second half. You see in the first half he'll miss some throws that he shouldn't. Maybe he should have scrambled and doesn't. But he's not taking the sacks that he was last year. And when the game comes down to it at the end, we're going to have a chance at the end. So I love just what I've seen. That game was actually insane. We got down 18 points. So I thought we would make a run at the end. I didn't know if we was going to have enough to pull the upset off, but we did. So defense, they have to get a lot of kudos too, only allowing 6 points the second half. So overall, just the second half performance from the Chicago Bears was just great to see. So
I agree. I feel like this was a really underrated comeback. I know it got a lot of love when it was happening, but this was, it wasn't the Super Bowl level, but this was on par with like 28-3 with the Patriots and the Falcons. 25 fourth quarter points to come back and win that game. Not only is it a playoff game, it's a playoff game against your biggest rival, the Green Bay Packers. The Bears probably just ended Matt LaFleur's tenure at Green Bay. I mean, this is the one where you're thinking if you bring him back, the fans are going to hate you. If you fire him, you're going to have to go through a full rebuild so the fans hate you. Ben Johnson, I mean, what that man has done, I get that he's in a stacked lineup going up for Coach of the Year. You got Kyle Shanahan battling some of the most ridiculous injury cursing that I've ever seen. Mike Vrabel turned the Patriots around in one season. But, I mean, if anything, there should be like a three-way tie for Coach of the Year this season. There has been so much improvement with the Bears. I'm really impressed with them. Jared, what would you think about the slate this week, and what was something that caught your eye?
I'm on the same game, watching, that first quarter, second quarter, and just watching Caleb and the body language of the team, them being at home. I was like, man, here we are again. Good old Bears football. They play good. Ben had them rolling. And then, Caleb was due for a really bad game, and just watching them. And then third quarter happens, and then fourth quarter, and you start sitting up in your seat. I was highly impressed. I overall wish the Jags and the Bills game would have ended differently. I'm
on the same boat.
Yeah, I personally would have loved the big three, which is Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh Allen, to take their butts home this year. And then, some new blood enter with Trevor Lawrence and Drake May and all the new guys, Caleb Williams, and, really get to see those guys battle it out. But yet we still have a big dog left in the fishbowl, so we'll see how that turns out. But other than that, man, the Rams game was very underwhelming. I would say surprising. The Philly game was eye-opening. Sirianni better get some icy hot or something for a seat, because it's going to start heating up within this next season. I think he's next, that could be on the hot seat, depending on what they do with A.J. Brown and stuff this offseason. So we'll see how that goes. But he's another one that things could get a little dicey for, man. This roster is way too stacked, even with what they lost on defense, for them not to have won that game at home. So, and you are reporting to Philly, so you got to win.
You got to win every game. This dude's been to 2 Super Bowls, and they still want him out. But I fully agree with you. Yeah. Guys, it's been fun talking sports with you for a little bit, but this is a betting show. We do got to give some punches out here. So I want to start with you, Curtis. What do you got, any punches for tonight? What you looking at right now?
Yeah, I'll start off with college basketball. Go to the Louisville game. Isaac McNeely going against his former team. I usually don't bet college props, but he's going against his former team. This is a must-take at 11.5 points at -118. He's averaging right around 11, and I think just with Conwell coming back, that's going to free him up for some more open shots today. And he's been shooting, not as good as we'd like for him to. So I think versus former team, he'll be up for this. He gets to at least 12 points. So that's my first official, and then I have 2 in the NBA. Dyson Daniels over 12.5 rebounds and assists. Going up against the Lakers, he had 21 the first matchup. The last 15 games, Lakers are giving up the 4th most rebounds and 6th most assists to the shooting guard position. So that would be my second official punch. And then third, we have Dante DiVincenzo over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -115. He's averaging around 31 plus points, rebounds, and assists without Anthony Edwards. And he's hit this in 4 straight without Ant. There's no Rudy Gobert as well. I think that'll free up some rebounds. And he's also going up against his former team in the Milwaukee Bucks, where he started his career at. So I love all those 3.
I love all those too. I like all those picks. JR, what you got?
I have. I'm going through tonight.
Okay, I like that.
Through over 11.5 points, -114. I went to the game the other night against Boston College. He impressed me. And I think with Conwell being back, open up the floor a little bit, get some pick and rolls. That's what he's been missing. He's not a turn and face up the basket type of guy, but I think he'll walk into an easy, 6 buckets, just off of dunks and layups and free throws. And then call me inverted. I didn't want to do this, but I was hoping Michael would have been available. But of course, we know how that story goes. But since we got Conwell back, I think we're still due for a very close game. I do like Virginia +4.5. I've been eyeballing it all day. I know we're tough at home, but we are struggling on defense, very, very inconsistent as far as being able to stop teams. So I do like Virginia to cover the 5. I do think we win, but I do think that they keep it close. If you want to alt it, I would say, don't go any higher than, 7.5 points is what my lowest I would go. Then 2 NBA odds. Vucevic over 14.5 points going against Houston. He's been burning it up here lately. I think he's 10-plus games at 15 points. And then Quentin Post, points plus rebounds over 10.5, minus 125. So those are my 4.
I like all those picks. I got Roman's picks right here. We got to move a little fast. We got to get out of here real quick. Roman's gone Devin Booker, 25-plus points tonight at Miami. He's also on Spurs plus 8.5 at OKC. He also has Jalen Johnson over 22.5 points tonight. He also has his pick for the triple punches tonight. It's Heat money line. Do you guys got any picks for those?
I apologize. I do not have my triple punch ready to go, but we'll get it on the after show.
That's cool.
My triple is Quentin Post, the points and rebounds, the minus 125.
Okay, that's good. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. Hopefully I can come on with you guys here soon. Roman will be back with you guys tomorrow. Like I said, I was just filling in. But this has been the Ticket Punchers on 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, the Big X.
Punch those tickets.
Punch those tickets.